What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas,
And I'm T-Bone.
and we're coming at you with another video today where we're going to be doing our New England Patriots Week 18 recap. The Patriots season is finally over, and a massive disappointment for this team. Massive disappointment of a game ends a massive disappointment of a year. This is not the year that I thought we were going to have. It's not the year a lot of Patriot fans thought we were going to have. Injuries galore, losing all of our best players left and right. Never had a healthy offensive line, and that showed in a lot of games, including this one. 7 sacks for the Jets. But, you know, it is what it is. This season is over. We now have the number 3 pick in the draft. It should be number 2, but for whatever reason, the NFL decides that the arbitrary strength of schedule metric means more than the Commanders beating us. Imagine if one team played another team and beat them, but then the team who lost made the playoffs because they had a better strength of schedule than the team who won. Imagine how upset people would be. That's effectively what they've done for the NFL draft, and it should change. The rules should be consistent across the board. Am I miffed about getting pick 3 instead of pick 2? No, it's still a good draft pick. And the Commanders will likely draft a quarterback regardless, and I want Marvin Harrison Jr. more than I want anybody else. But anyways, this game was pretty abysmal. Snow day in Foxborough, which means the passing game is going to be absolutely useless, which means, of course, that we're missing our top running back. I mean, we've been missing him for God knows how long now. And, you know, Zeke did all right. We honestly dropped back to throw way more often than we should. Zappy was awful. Zappy was so terrible he threw 2 interceptions on one drive, and that's hard to do. Zappy was absolutely terrible. And what we've seen in the last 2 weeks from Bailey Zappy, just been terrible. It's like I said before. And I feel vindicated about this. Is that if Bailey Zappy had started this season and played until Mac got benched, he would have been playing just as bad, if not worse, than Mac Jones was at that point. And a big reason why there was a struggle today was the offensive line. Trent Brown hasn't played the last couple of weeks because God only knows. It feels like he's quit on the team. This is definitively his last year in New England, I'll say that much. He will not be returning, and I thank you for the many years of service you put in, Trent. But your conduct this year was just terrible. You didn't play very good, you weren't healthy, and you just acted like you didn't want to be there. You really and truly did. You look almost angry, upset that we won against Denver. We're doing the celebration, everything. You're like almost emotionless, expressionless, turning away, ignoring it. Scoffing at one of the few moments of joy that this team has had this year. So, goodbye. Didn't play. Darian Lowe came in. He was terrible. Offensive line in general was terrible. You know, I mean, 7 sacks, I think, speaks for that. Now, Bailey wasn't very good with his mobility. The one thing that Bailey had over Mac was mobility, but Bailey didn't look very mobile in this one. At all. At all. Our best player in offense was Zeke. 54 rushing yards, 27 passing yards. That's 81 of our 119 total yards. That's ridiculous. Offense just looked terrible. No top running back. Without our top wide receiver. several of our top wide receivers. You know, lots of key guys just gone. Have been for so long. It's a big reason why we've struggled. We haven't seen a complete New England Patriots team since Week 3 against the Jets. Believe it or not. Because Week 4 Dallas, Gonzo and Judon go down. And now we'll talk about the defense. The defense, I thought, were pretty solid in this one. I want to give a shout-out to Alex Austin, who has shown up in a big way for us the last couple of games. Rookie cornerback, undrafted, yoinked off of the Houston Texans practice squad, I believe. And he's put in the work. He's shown up. And he made a good play in this game, a really nice play. And he's done what he's needed to. You know, I think he's only allowed 2 completions in like the 4 or 5 games that he's played for us. On something like 13, 14 targets, somewhere in that ballpark. And I think that's a testament to Bill in a lot of ways. Obviously, the big conversation surrounding New England this week is, what's going to happen with Bill? And I'm here to tell you that Bill ain't going nowhere. Bill is a New England Patriot, and he will continue to be a New England Patriot. All of this hubbubaloo that you see stirring up in the media, it's all garbage. All of it. It means nothing. People want to talk. The media, man, they've been licking their chops about the possibility of trying to chase him out of New England. Because Bill has been in New England for over 20 years, and never once has he given them anything. He gives them nothing. He doesn't indulge their fantasies. It's business as usual, Bill, and the only way you ever get anything out of Bill is if you ask a genuinely intelligent football question. Then you get to see the fun side of him, the nerd side of him, where he'll spend 10 minutes talking about the history of the long snapper position. But when people are just, he doesn't feed them. Because why would he? And they hate him for that. So they want to chase him out. Bill is going nowhere. Everyone from that building, except for maybe Trent Brown, who has completely discredited himself this year. Although I do think he was right about his comments today about some of our offensive line personnel decisions in the last couple of years, but that doesn't change everything else from him. But all the guys back Bill. All of them back Bill. They love Bill. Say he's a great coach. Say he's changed nothing. Continue to do what he's done. They're saying it's their fault as the players and not Bill's fault that this team has struggled. And they'll fight for Bill. It's a much different tune than you hear elsewhere. So, Bill stays in New England. What happens with other staff in New England? Who knows? I think front office is going to look a little bit different for New England for sure. Will McDaniels come back? I don't know. I don't think anyone is going to be willing to give him a head coaching job, so I could see him coming back, but I also don't see Bill O'Brien leaving necessarily. So maybe McDaniels comes in and is like the quarterback coach, or he and Bill are like co-offensive coordinators or something. I don't know. Belichick loves to do weird stuff like that. But Bill ain't going nowhere. That is for sure. This season, though, was something. Like we talked about, defense looked pretty solid, except for that one play where Breece Hall broke a 50-yard touchdown at the end on us. Whoopee! But, you know, it's... Throughout the year, there is one player defensively who I felt like we missed more than anybody else, and it's weird. It's weird for me to say this with how many guys in the front seven has stepped up and played really, really well. Christian Barmore, Dietrich Wise, Jawan Bentley, Mac Wilson, Jelani Tavai. In some respects, Keon White, towards the end of the year. He started to come into his own. The player we missed the most was Matthew Judon. Barmore, career year, should have made the Pro Bowl. Snubbed, absolutely. Should have made the Pro Bowl. You know, all these guys playing well, but we just couldn't get that edge, that bit of extra pressure. We didn't force that many sacks this year. We didn't force that many mistakes. We got pressure. We were excellent at stopping the run. Our run defense has been very good. And our secondary has been very good as well. If I recall, I think Tyreek Hill is the only receiver to have gotten 100 yards on us. Me, I can't remember if Jalen, because this was the second time we played the Dolphins. I can't remember if Waddle got 100 in that game as well or not. Just off the top of my head, I don't think he did. But regardless, we didn't allow receivers to do squat. There weren't many teams who had big passing days on us. Sunday's been very good. You think, oh yeah, we'd get a lot of coverage sacks. No, not really. It's interesting. All this pressure generated. Great job stopping the run. All of these numbers. It just felt like something was missing, and we weren't hitting home the way we should have. And for me, that's that Judon absence. And if I think we can bring the vast majority of these guys back, and obviously have a healthy Matthew Judon next year, our defensive line is going to be something scary. You know, having Gonzo would have been nice. I think we would have played much better with him, but Bill adapted exceptionally well this year, and I want to give him full credit for that. I mean, to think losing your top two defensive players and then you're still playing great defense, you know? Wonder if it's a testament to the coaching, especially if you have to bring in undrafted rookies off of another team's practice squad just to put someone on the field, and they still look good. Oh, I wonder how much of that's the coach. I don't know. But overall, not the season we wanted. Lots and lots and lots and lots of injuries across the board. Started with the offensive line was never at any point healthy during training camp or the regular season. Couple of bright spots in the offensive line. Michael Onwenu moved over to right tackle. He's been excellent. Rookie, City Sal, want to give him a lot of credit. He was put into a tough situation and has stepped up and has been a solid player for us, especially in the run game. His run blocking has been great, and his chemistry with Onwenu over on the right side of the line is great. And should we end up with Michael Penix, who's not my top guy, but I wouldn't love it. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it as much as if we drafted Drake May. Let's put it that way. I do not want May. But if we end up with Penix, I feel good about Penix's blind side. Which, I mean, you saw in the national championship game yesterday, he definitely struggled when under pressure, which Michigan was routinely bringing with only 4-man rushes, so, which meant 7 guys in the secondary. It's always rough for him, even though he missed throws he normally makes. But I digress. Still, it's just killer, man. It just kills you when you lose so many of your top guys and you still get perform. It's even more annoying when you're in every game you play. Dallas, New Orleans. Those were your 2 games that you weren't in. Every other game you're in with a good chance to win if you're able to do this one thing on this one drive. That's it. Only 2 games where we weren't really in the game. You know, with a team that hurt, as disappointing as this year has been, there has been some bright spots. You know, we beat 2 playoff teams. We beat 2 teams with a winning record, which is more teams than the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have only beaten 1 team with a winning record, and it was the Dallas Cowboys. And there were, in my opinion, some suspect calls in that game that favored Miami. Now, obviously, a lot of games had suspect calls, and Dallas got their retribution against Detroit. But we had more wins against teams with winning records than Miami. So we just lost a lot of the other ones with losing records because we weren't good. We just weren't. We were in games, but we weren't good. And something that I've talked about this year is how just god-awful everybody is in the NFL. Almost every team in the NFL stinks. And we're losing to those guys. Now, granted, half our starters are out. But, another thing that I want... Injuries this year have been awful. I think part of that's NFL rules, just the way the game's changed, and people protect themselves. Tom Brady talked about it. And I think he was 100% right about all of it. And I think we've seen it play out. Everything that Tom Brady said in that one clip has played out this year. Perfectly. That's just how it went. So, but I am curious, if we're going to need any turnover in our, training staff, strength conditioning, all of that. That's not something that I'm very knowledgeable about, but the level of injury that we experienced this year does have me concerned. And I know that if you look at organizations like the Baltimore Ravens, the injury plague hits them a lot. When McCaffrey was with the Panthers, they didn't know how to handle him, and so they got him hurt a lot because they overworked him really badly. Newton talked about that a few weeks ago. And generally, the Patriots are a team that will accumulate injuries. Now, injuries to this many key players? No. I think that was an outlier. But in general, that is the case. So, I think that's something that should be looked at and evaluated because we can't have this many guys getting hurt next year, or else we're not going to be a good football team. That's just the reality. T-Bone, I know that you've been sitting there for Lord knows how long just waiting to talk. What do you got for us?
I was thinking. So, you really hit most of the bases. You don't think Bill's leaving. You think media's stirring up crap. You think basically all the things Bill Belichick would say. But do you think that he orchestrated some of the losses, or do you really just think that this team just offensively just sucked?
Do you think Bill likes losing?
I don't think so. Well, it gets to the point of at the end. Do you think that? Do you think he wasn't trying a little bit, to lose?
No. I think Bill tried to win every
Even
single
at
game, as he should have done.
so even at the end, when you're considered out of playoff contention, he just never. Nope.
If we were not trying to win football games after we were knocked out of the playoffs, then why did we beat the Steelers and the Broncos?
Fair enough.
That Broncos game we could have lost if we chose to. We didn't. We went out and won it.
Fair enough, man. All right.
Bill doesn't like losing. No one likes losing except for Trent Brown, apparently.
I say you're like, all right, thanks, bye. Don't let the door kick you on the way out.
No, let the door kick you on the way out.
Not a big fan. Not a big Trent Brown fan. This one, folks.
Not this year. I was in the past, but he was just awful this year. He was never
Yeah.
healthy, never reliable when he was healthy, and his whole attitude is just terrible. Like
And that attitude is toxic, folks. It really is.
I don't I
It's
don't
not a
think
good
there will be
attitude.
much love lost between him and Bill when he's out the door. His contract is up anyway, so he's a free
Yeah.
agent. He's not
Yeah.
coming back.
No. Fair
So,
enough.
yeah. In terms of off-season and what we need to address, obviously there's a lot. That is a going to be its own dedicated future video after the NFL season itself is over. So for the next month and a half, you won't really hear any Patriots talk unless some crazy news story like Belichick getting fired, which, like I said, I do not think will happen at all. Unless some really crazy story comes out. This will be the last New England video you'll get for a hot minute. So, T-Bone, is there any final thoughts you have before we wrap this thing up?
No, sir.
Alrighty then, please be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. We would love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we will see you all in the next video.